All night long. All night long. Yes, all night long. All night long. Yeah.
It's the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast with the Enforcer
I believe they're called enforcers, Gordon. I sell women's shoes.
and the Stallion.
Stallion, baby! I am not what you would call a handsome man.
I'll kick you in the nuts and you'll smile at me and like it.
All night long.
Welcome back to another edition of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. He is the Stallion. I am the Enforcer. And welcome back to yet another week here. Now, before we go any further, we have breaking news. Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather has been signed for August 28th or 26th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Joe, how excited are you for the fight?
I think it'll be somewhat of a spectacle, I guess, and the build-up for it will probably be interesting. I don't think the fight itself will probably deliver on people that maybe have high expectations for it, but I'm sure that, like I said, the lead-up to it and the interviews and the promotional stuff will be pretty interesting.
Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing about it already. I no longer care about Conor McGregor. I haven't in quite some time. Floyd Mayweather, I do not care for his boxing style. However, he is one of the, if not the smartest boxers of all time. He's got fantastic defense. People call him a boring fighter, and they say he likes to dance and X, Y, and Z, and those people are out of touch with reality and have never put on a pair of gloves in their entire life. If you feel alienated because I said that, then you, my friend, are the problem. Floyd Mayweather has a history in his very young career of breaking his hands. He used to hit very hard. And, you know, when you break your hands as a boxer, they're called the boxer's fracture. It's tiny metacarpal right behind your knuckles. If you break them early, you can break them often. So he became a volume puncher with fantastic defense. And Conor McGregor is not a boxer. I repeat, Conor McGregor is not a boxer. He is a mixed martial artist who has a lot of success in the stand-up game, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't translate. That's like Wayne Gretzky joining the Air Hockey Championships. That's just not something that's, 2 and 2 is not making 6 here, and I don't think the fight's going to be close. It's a 12-round. I just watched a video. Dana White said it's a 12-round boxing match, or 10-round boxing, 12-round boxing match in a ring with 10-ounce boxing gloves. So they're going to have boxing gloves on. Frankly, I don't think there's a athletic commission that should sanction the fight, because right now what you're doing is you're sanctioning a fight between a professional boxer who's got 48 fights and a not a professional boxer who has 0 boxing fights. So I think of course, it's a money grab, and I don't think the fight's going to be exciting. If Conor gets hit, what's he going to do? Go for a takedown? No, he's not. Mayweather is going to win the fight. It's going to be rather simple, and you will probably never see Conor fight again, because why would he have to? I guarantee he's making close to $20 million on this fight. So you take a loss, and for $20 million, and you go on your merry way, and we never hear from Conor McGregor again. I think it's good business on his part. It's just shame on Dana White for allowing his 155-pound and 145-pound champion to go to a different sport and hold up both of those weight classes in the UFC. It's not fair to the guys who actually are fighting, like a guy like Max Holloway. So it'll be. I'm looking forward to the fight just to see, get it over with. But there are a lot of other good fights coming up that people should be worried about. Like you talk about Kovalev versus Ward is coming up, and you also have Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez. Those are 2 fantastic boxing matches that deserve the credit that, and the prestige that Mayweather and McGregor are going to get. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox.
Okay.
It was a long diatribe. The news just broke roughly an hour ago, not even. So, we're current here on the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast. And we're trying to be up to date. We're trying to deliver the best in news. And speaking of current and up to date, I got a story about Glacier that I want to talk about later.
I'm sorry. The wrestler Glacier?
Yeah, the wrestler.
You have a story about Glacier, the wrestler.
The wrestler, yep. It's a current story.
It's a current story.
Current story.
And it has nothing to do with, like, glaciers in, like, mountains and stuff like that. You're talking about
No, global warming isn't real.
Maybe we should talk about wrestling. I feel like that's what we should be doing. That seems to be our bread and butter, as they say. I feel like this is the time for us to jump into that.
Let's give it a segue. That's what they call it, right?
Segue?
Segue, yeah, it's the same thing. I'm reading off a cue card. I think that's what it is.
That's
right?
probably what it is. It's like Ryback cutting a promo. That's what's happening.
Or anybody else in the WWE today cutting a promo. But yeah.
Well, I think that the biggest news of this coming week and the upcoming weekend is the SmackDown brand Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which is happening on Sunday night from St. Louis. There are 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches on that show. There's the men's division match featuring Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura. And for the first time ever, as they've made it known pretty well, I would say, the first time ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. There are 5 women in the match: Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. James Ellsworth did not make the cut, but he will be at ringside with Carmella. So
Ellsworth's not in the match?
He's not in the match, is my understanding. But he will be there to cheer on Carmella. So those 2 matches, plus the rematch between Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton for the WWE title. New Day's return to pay-per-view, challenging the Usos for the Tag Team Championships. And Lana's, not her in-ring debut, per se, but her first shot at the SmackDown Women's Championship, her debut on the SmackDown Live brand, will take place as she challenges Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I think you're being a little harsh. I'm going with that's harsh.
I think Lana getting a title shot is harsh. It's harsh on my mind, my brain.
Well, there's other things. I think Cody Rhodes getting a title shot for ROH is harsh, I would say.
At least Cody Rhodes competed in Ring of Honor ring this last 6 months.
And lost in his last match against Jay Lethal and the champion, and was pinned by the champion. So I have some issues with Ring of Honor, which we can get into at a later time in the show.
Yeah, but at least he's competed in a match. We don't even know what Lana's capable of.
She's competed in a match before.
Okay, I'm not knocking her. I'm asking a legitimate question because I don't remember. When was the last time that she's wrestled? And has she wrestled on NXT?
I don't know that she's been on the NXT TV show. I know she's wrestled at NXT live events.
Okay. What was the reception like? Was it?
I've only heard stuff that's mostly been okay. I mean, it's just she's got whatever her gimmick is. I don't know how her match quality has been, but she's been training for a little while, and I know she's, like I said, she's had some matches on house shows, and she wrestled, I think, at last year's WrestleMania, I believe. Might have been a pre-show match with a lot of the women's wrestlers that were not on the main card.
Oh, good. Yeah, this will be fun. This show will be fun. Well, let me ask you something before we get into the predictions for the show. You watched SmackDown this week, correct?
I did.
What do you think about Jinder? Do you feel like since he's become champion, the WWE title has become less prestigious than the Money in the Bank match has in regards to this show? Because in watching the week SmackDown leading up to Money in the Bank, I feel like Jinder has almost been an afterthought.
I think that their main selling point for the show is the ladder match or the ladder matches. So that's what they're pushing the most in this case. I also think that their biggest stars, I guess, as far as like the match that has the most star power in it is the
Usos versus the New Day.
No, it would be the Money in the Bank match on the men's side. So I think that's probably why that feud or that match has been getting top billing on SmackDown for the last few weeks. I think they're selling the show based off of that match, who's going to get the briefcase, and the fact that the majority of people who have won the briefcase have gone on to win the championship. The Mahal thing with him being champion, I think, is an example which has happened before, right? Where guys that were the champion weren't necessarily in the main event. It's happened a few times. I think it's actually happened to CM Punk a couple of times.
I was just about to say CM Punk when he was the World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, so and stuff like that happens where your main title is not on your biggest star, and then your biggest stars take the main event slot, and the title gets slotted down a little bit further. But the title is still the title. The whole idea of the briefcase is to get a title shot so that you can then try to step up to be champion. So I think the championship still means what it does, just that the ladder match has been featured a lot more.
I think maybe this could be the first time this week on SmackDown, I would have liked to see the show end with a promo. I think if you close the show with the Jinder Mahal promo with the Randy Orton run-in, that would have put a little more prestige on the title than it would the focus on the Money in the Bank briefcase in a chance to get a shot at the title. I just think if you would have had his... Because I thought Jinder cut a really good promo this week. He's got good aggression. He's got good intensity. His inflection on his words. I thought it was a really, really good promo. I think that would have been better suited for the main event because this week, when I went back and watched SmackDown, at an hour and 30... It's a 2-hour show. At an hour and 36 minutes into the show, they started the intros for the 6-man match of the main event, which was Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin, and Dolph Ziggler versus Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, and Nakamura. At an hour and 36 minutes, they started the intros. At an hour 42, they went to a commercial break. The match didn't start until an hour 46 and wrestled for 3 minutes, and then went to another commercial break. So you have 6 wrestlers, 4 of them being some of the best in the world in one match. I think if you're going to, that match could have been better suited for like the 9 o'clock hour, to give it a little more time, and then you could have closed with the promo and it wouldn't have had to, worry about getting cut short due to time restraints. So I just think putting the champion in the main event slot with a promo, getting heat on Randy Orton, I think that would have been a better choice for SmackDown this week, personally.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with that. I mean, that's certainly, it would have been an option. I mean, this segment I thought came off pretty well at the end with the Orton RKO and all that stuff. So they added a little bit of juice or fuel to that match, which is fine. So I wouldn't have had a problem if that ended the show and the 6-man was in the middle. I think that would have been just fine also. I
think having, the champion laying, the commentators kind of going nuts at Randy Orton, dropped him. Will this be the outcome on Sunday at the pay-per-view? Tune in, blah, blah. I think that would have been a cool ending note, but what do I know? I'm just schlep. That's not really a booker. So I think what we could do was we could hop right into the predictions for Money in the Bank. Right now, it's, what is it? Today's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday, 8 o'clock at night. There's only 5 matches announced for the show. That's not to say they're not going to throw 2 or 3 more matches on the show. You're probably going to get a Hype Bros tag match because we saw Zack Ryder come back. Maybe a pre-show match. But as of right now, we're looking at, Naomi versus Lana, the women's Money in the Bank, the men's Money in the Bank, Usos versus New Day, and Jinder versus Randy Orton. So I guess we could start at the 5th match on here. That's going to be Naomi versus Lana for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm going to let you go ahead and take the helm on this one while I ponder if I'm going to turn the show on at 8 o'clock or not.
So I think that, I don't know what the Lana situation is as far as, what they have planned for her. I think she was supposed to be, she at least is being booked as a heel, even though I think she's getting cheered more in this feud than Naomi is. But I think Naomi's going to keep the title. I don't see them doing anything crazy and putting it on Lana right away. I wouldn't put it past them since they just made Jinder Mahal WWE champion last month. But I don't think that...
If that's where your barometer is, things you could do crazy. Jinder's the champion. Anything is, you could do anything.
So I don't think they're going to do that. I think Naomi will retain the title. The story was just that Lana wanted to be in the Money in the Bank women's ladder match, and they denied her entry into that. And Naomi was kind of being really obnoxious, I thought, in that segment. I think it was from a couple weeks ago. And fans actually started cheering Lana, I think, at that point. Whether it was because of Naomi's reactions or not, I'm not sure. But
could it have been because of the weave?
I don't know. She's gonna. I don't know. I don't want to repeat what she says because I feel like it's inappropriate. But
what'd she say?
Something about snatching hair and women bald. I don't know what she talks about. I'm not really familiar with the.
Yeah, I don't know
the terminology. But I'll say that Naomi will retain the championship. I think that she's not a bad wrestler. I think that she should probably keep it here. So I'll keep it on Naomi.
Did that segment on SmackDown remind you of when John Cena was kind of berating AJ. You know, AJ heel, Lana heel, and Naomi, like I said, she was like obnoxious and over the top to the point where people actually turned on her. Reminded me of the old Cena versus AJ segment.
Yeah, she was pretty annoying.
Yeah, they're really good at getting these people over that they want. I know they're big on Naomi. Where's Rusev? Does anybody know? Has anybody seen Rusev?
He's been at some Nashville Predator games, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, maybe he's the reason. Did you see that blown call, by the way?
Yeah.
Terrible. I blame that on Rusev, too. Does Rusev come out and cost Naomi the match and Lana becomes the champion? Is that what's going to happen?
I can't see Rusev getting involved in the Naomi-Lana thing. It seems like they're
Trying to
splitting up the
distance,
Rusev
right?
and Lana act. So
Good. WWE's been doing some dumb stuff. Lana's the new champion.
all right.
Oh, you know what? Lana's going to... Yeah, hold on. Now I'm thinking. Now we're booking here. We might have a cash-in the same night, buddy. Maybe a Lana title win and a cash-in. I'm gonna tell you right now. I think Lana's gonna win the title, and I'm gonna sit on the rest of it.
Okay.
So let's not go to the women's match yet next.
All right, we'll go to the tag match. It's the Usos against the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. New Day just returned a couple weeks ago to SmackDown. They had some time off. Kofi Kingston was hurt. They immediately jumped into a program with the Tag Team Champions, which are the Usos. They had a couple of promos back and forth, and there was an 8-man tag on SmackDown this week. New Day has looked strong the last couple of weeks going into the title match.
I think you got to keep the title on the Usos right now. If you want the New Day to be champions, let them chase it a little while. They were champions for 3 out of the last 6 years. And the Usos are doing everything right. I think their promos are pretty good. I think their in-ring work has been really crisp, and I just like what they're doing, so I think you got to keep it on the Usos, make them look strong.
Yeah, I would leave it on the Usos. Maybe there's some sort of cheating tactics that they use at the end of the match. I assume that this feud is going to go beyond just 1 month. Ideally, I think what you would do is have the Usos retained or maybe get disqualified in some capacity, and then they do a rematch again the following month and maybe have it finish at SummerSlam with the Usos with the New Day winning the titles there. That's what I would do. Whether they do that or not, I don't know. But I think that keeping on the Usos is the way to go. They've done a pretty solid job as the champions the last couple of months. And I think maybe just delaying New Day's win a little bit would be the thing to do. And so I keep it on the Usos as well.
And I think if there's a tag team on SmackDown that could benefit from the titles, it wouldn't be the New Day. The New Day's established. They don't really need the belts. Where's the Fashion Police? I want the Fashion Files back. I want more Breezango. I want more Janitor. I want more Fashion Files.
On this show in particular? Or?
Well, you're probably going to see them versus the Colognes on the pre-show, now that I think about it, or on this match, which will be fun. But they're over. They're hilarious. I'm a big fan of them. So, the Usos win, and hopefully the next tag team champions on SmackDown are the Fashion Police. Unless American Alpha comes back at some point. Who knows? Anybody seen them?
I think they're supposed to come back soon. I don't know what the angle they have planned for that yet is. But
You think they're hanging out with Rusev?
No, well, Rusev's angle got dropped. I think that was kind of the problem with him. So
Yeah. After you announced it's coming back. It's like,
they changed course. And
it's a tape show. Nobody's going to watch it.
Well, no, it's not a tape show anyway.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
They had a plan for him to come back and challenge Orton and kind of be involved as a major player on this show. And then they changed direction. They put the title on Mahal. I don't think that was the original plan. And then when they did that, they didn't have anything for Rusev to do. And now his angle's been dropped, and they have to come up with something new for him. I think that's what has occurred here. So may as well let's go to the title match next, and then we'll do the ladder matches last. So it's Jinder Mahal defending against Randy Orton. It's Orton's rematch from Backlash, where he lost the championship to Jinder. This is taking place in Orton's hometown of St. Louis. As we mentioned earlier, segment on SmackDown this week was Jinder Mahal doing a promo in the ring, and Orton came out of the crowd and hit him with an RKO and kind of got the one-up on Mahal for the first time in a while. So he is the challenger going into this. It's obviously his contracted rematch. I don't think that they'll put it back on Orton. That's what I thought they... Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think they'll leave it on Mahal for right now. I'll say they'll leave it on him.
Before you give the answer to this, did you hear him say Bob Orton was going to be ringside?
I did. There's be other legends at ringside in St. Louis as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought he said Bob Orton and other wrestling legends will be at ringside.
Will one of them be the Iron Sheik?
I don't know that. I'm not sure.
Something we could look into, maybe.
But I don't know that they named everybody that would be there. But
do you think he's going to have an effect on the outcome of the match?
I don't.
Really?
I don't think. Why would...
That's what they do.
They have
Killer
Bob Orton.
Kowalski had his leg taken off in the Shawn Michaels Diesel match, so...
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that. Maybe Mahal will like taunt them or something or whatever if that's what happens after the match if he retains the championship. But I don't see them getting involved actively in the match.
I just feel like Zack Ryder's dad was ringside. He got into it with The Miz. I foresee some Bob Orton shenanigans on Sunday. So you're going, as I cut you off with it, you're going with the modern day Maharaja.
I'm going to go with the Jinder retain.
The Jinder Express. I'm going to go... I got to go with Jinder. Because I think if you're going to put the title on him, you know, you're doing the right things with him so far. Let him keep the title for a while. The Jinder Express is going to be rolling through St. Louis, Missouri on Sunday. So
I think he's setting up for Jinder versus free agent John Cena feud coming up soon. That's what I'm thinking.
He's not just John Cena. He's the free agent
John
Cena. He's whatever. So all right, I guess we'll go with the women's Money in the Blank. Wow, Money in the Bank ladder match, women's match. Becky versus Charlotte versus Natty versus Tamina versus Carmella. Let's look at process of elimination. Carmella's not going to win it. Tamina's not going to win it. Natty's not going to win it. It's coming out to Becky and it's coming out to Charlotte. I think good booking here says Becky wins, and maybe you get a Becky Lynch heel turn, and she takes out Naomi. So I'm going Becky Lynch.
So I'm going to say Charlotte. But one thing I'll just throw in there. So, and I'm not basing my predictions based off of any of the betting odds. I'm just doing it based off of what I think the booking will be and who's going to win, and who I think will win. I can tell you that the betting odds, as of this afternoon, when I looked, had Carmella as the favorite. So I don't know that we can rule her out as an option here. So she is the current betting favorite as of a few hours ago.
Is it because of James Ellsworth?
It's a big advantage that she has. No, I don't know. I'm sticking with Charlotte. The only reason I'm saying Charlotte, or the main reason, I guess, is that obviously there's a lot of firsts that they do with the women's division these days. Obviously, they split up the title, so they have a Raw and SmackDown champion now. The first Hell in a Cell match for the women was Charlotte and Sasha Banks last year. They had a women's Iron Man match, I believe, after that. Again, it was Charlotte and Sasha. So I think this is the first women's Money in the Bank ladder match. It wouldn't surprise me if they let Charlotte take that as well, and kind of give her that honor of, you know, being a multi-time champion and being in those first matches and winning, a lot of them as well. So I'm just going to stick with her. I think the division should really kind of drive more towards her and her character. So I don't know, obviously, that she'll go into a feud with Naomi right away, but I would like to see her with the briefcase. She's she's been on the babyface side the last month or so, but I feel like she still acts like a tweener in terms of her attitude and things like that. So she could easily cash in on a champion, whether they're face or heel, and get a good reaction out of it. So I'm going to take Charlotte.
I think that's a smart pick. I just feel like Becky is staler than something funny. So I think she needs a character change ASAP, and I think giving her the Money in the Bank contract might do that. So
yeah, I think if to me it would be between the two. That would be my thought. One of those two should definitely win. I think that would be the best direction to go. So
just so you know, we got one of our photos has been liked on Instagram, and the guy that liked it, his screen name is Mid Card Guy.
Nice.
I feel like he's kind of like us.
Good for him.
Setting our sights right in the middle.
Great job by Mid Card Guy.
Oh, Mid Card Clothing representative. Look, I'm giving this guy free press. There you go, Mid Card Guy. You're welcome. Mid Card Clothing at Instagram at something. Instagram. Now the men's Money in the Bank ladder match: Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm going to tell you right now, BK does not believe that a face should win the Money in the Bank ladder match. How do you feel about that assessment?
It really depends on who the champion is, and then who the face is that's winning the match. You know, they've done stuff before where baby faces have won. Usually the storyline after that goes a little bit differently with the babyface. I know when Rob Van Dam won the ladder match, he announced when he was going to get his title shot or when he wanted it, which was at the ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view in 2006. When John Cena won it, I think he announced when he wanted to get his match.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he say on Raw, right?
Yeah, I think it was on like Raw 1000 or something like that.
Nice.
So there's things like that. You know, you could also have a babyface that then turns heel. They did that with CM Punk the second time that he won. So I think it's an option depending on who it is. I think it's a better storyline when a heel does have it because there's kind of that tease in the unknown factor of what's going on. Though Ambrose had it last year, and he cashed in the same night, I believe. Or was it not the same night? Was it?
I think it was the next week, right?
I can't remember if it was the same night or not, but he won it the same when Rollins beat Roman Reigns, and then he beat Rollins the same night. It might have been Money in the Bank. I'll double check that. But I think it's better when a heel has it, but they can pull it off with a babyface.
So, for me, I think the favorite, not betting odd favorite, but watching the show favorite to win is Nakamura. Man, this is a tough one because there's so many talented guys that you don't know where they're going to go if they don't have the Money in the Bank briefcase. If it is a heel that wins, you can kind of push him off to the side and have him kind of lay in the weeds almost while other angles transpire. I think, man, my heart says Sami Zayn. It's not going to happen. So for me, looking at this, again, you guys you can eliminate. I don't think it's going to be Dolph Ziggler. I don't think it's going to be Sami Zayn. That leaves AJ, Corbin, Nakamura, and Owens. Owens is still the U.S. Heavyweight Champion.
Right.
He's gotten pinned so many times the last couple weeks, I couldn't tell you. So I don't think you should put it on Owens because he has something to do. So take Owens away. I'm looking at AJ, Corbin, Nakamura. Nakamura is the obvious pick. I'm going to say AJ Styles wins this match.
Okay.
I'm going to say AJ.
So just so Ambrose did win the Money in the Bank briefcase and then cashed it in the same night last year. That's on Rollins, so that did happen. So we were on point with that one.
You were on point with that. I had no idea.
I'm going to say Baron Corbin is going to win this match.
God, I hope not. He's terrible.
He's been losing a lot lately, and I feel like that's a sign that they're going to then give him a big push in some fashion. I think that it'll be by winning this. Now, originally I thought that Orton would be the champion at this point, and that Corbin would eventually cash in on Orton. So if Mahal keeps the title, that may change. That may not matter. I don't know what the plans are for Mahal and how long he's going to keep it. So, but I think Corbin's going to win. I don't think, like you said, I don't think Ziggler's going to win. I don't think Zayn is going to win. I wouldn't put it on Owens. He's got the U.S. title. He doesn't need that right now. That leaves Styles, Corbin, and Nakamura. Nakamura is too soon to put him right into the title picture and make him the champion. He's just getting established on SmackDown. They need to do more with that. I would probably keep him with Owens or at that level for a little while.
It's a good idea.
So I think it's either Styles or Corbin. Now, I think either one could or should win. I think it would be fine. I would have no problem with Styles winning and then cashing it in on whoever the champion is later this year. But I think that the plan is for Corbin to win and to elevate him to a main event level status. So I don't know if what's going to happen is Mahal will keep the title, or if it goes back to Orton, then you've got Corbin that can cash in on Orton. If Mahal keeps it, I could see him losing it to Cena, and then Corbin cashing in on Cena right away, and then going that direction. But I think there's a couple things they could do. But I'm going to say Baron Corbin will win the Money in the Bank contract.
Okay, so we both pretty much came down to AJ and Corbin. We just went different ways.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think this is going to be a good show? You think you enjoy watching this? Is this something you're going to go back and watch twice, 3 times, 4 times?
There's not many shows these days that I go back and watch twice, so I doubt that I'll be doing that. But I think that the potential is there for it to be a good show. Both the ladder matches should be entertaining and deliver, and I think the tag match could be very good. I don't think Mahal and Orton will be much different than it was previously. Hopefully they can pull out some stops and make it entertaining at least. So I think that's 3 of the matches should be pretty good. That one I don't really have much invested in. We'll see if they add anything else to the show.
I would think they have to, right? Well, I mean, 2 Money in the Bank matches. You might be able to go 2 hours, 45 minutes, 240, but no, I mean, it looks good on paper. The Money in the Bank matches, I think you probably opened the show with the Women's Money in the Bank match, right?
Yeah, I could see them doing that.
That's probably what I would do.
Either that or the tag match. That's how I would go.
That's a good call. I think you probably try to keep the Money in the Bank matches far away from each other, so that way you know. I'm sure Charlotte's going to steal the show and do some wild stuff in that match, like a moonsault off the roof or something. So I don't know. It's I'll be watching. We'll see what happens. Do either champions cash in that night?
I don't know. I hope not. I kind of hate when they do that. I think it kind of takes away from the fun of it. I mean, I guess that maybe they don't want to have 2 briefcases open on the same show. But I think I would not have anybody do that. I think that's a little bit played, and they just did it last year. They've done it a few times. I don't like that idea. I just think it devalues the title. Especially if there's a title match and somebody wins it, and then all of a sudden somebody else comes out and takes it right away. Like, I get it if you're trying to maybe build heel heat on somebody, but I don't like that. So I would prefer that they not cash in the same night. So out of hopes that they don't do it, I'm going to say no.
Okay. I could see if Baron Corbin wins, he's the type of guy that might cash in that night, Just come in, grab somebody behind, hit the whatever the hell he calls his finisher, and then walk out the champion. Who knows? But
the one thing I would say is that if I'm looking at this card, I would put that match on last. I get it depends on what they want to do with an angle or something like that, but that's the match I would have last. I wouldn't have, even though it's Orton's hometown, it's actually, especially because it's Orton's hometown, if he's not going to win, I would not have that match go on last. I would have that match go maybe in between the ladder matches or something like that, or in the middle of the show. I would not have that one go on last. I would main event the show with the men's ladder match, because that's what they've been putting in the main event segment on SmackDown, like we said earlier.
Right.
That's been the main story, so that one I would put on last. So if they do that, then at least that eliminates the idea of somebody cashing in right away.
Now, if they were making Jinder the main focus of the show, you would go Jinder versus Randy's main event?
Yeah, I mean, in most circumstances, I think the title should always be the last match on the show. That's just what I think. I don't think that anything should overshadow it, even if it's a special attraction or something like that. But in this case, they've not been building up. They haven't been spending a lot of time on the Orton-Mahal feud. They've just been doing little stuff here and there. A lot of time has been spent on the Money in the Bank ladder match, and that's where the focus is, and that's where the prestige of this show is. So I think for a one-off, that's what they should do, and then leave the Jinder and Orton match can go in the middle of the show.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on this one. Now, we touched on some of the questionable decisions they've made this week in terms of booking, where they're booking things. We just listened to a report of The Big Show on the Chris Jericho podcast. If you haven't heard it, Big Show, I would go ahead and sum this up. He pretty much says he prefers working house shows, I'm sorry, not house shows, live events, as opposed to taping. Because taping, you sit around all day and let me pull up the exact terminology here, because it's something that's probably not going to sit too well with upper management. They're just here we go. They're just long, useless, time-wasting bullshit days where you sit around all day for some friggin' idea that absolutely sucks. Now, he went on to say that he's upset with the booking in the WWE currently, and a lot of the bookers have never, quote-unquote, laced a pair of boots in their entire life, and you got guys who are, 38 different guys who walk around telling you what to do when you are the wrestler. Now, let me ask you something. Big Show's been in the business 20, WWE, 15, 16 years, in the business about 21, 22 years. Does he get a pass saying this? Do you think this is going to sit well with upper management, should I say?
I don't think it's going to have much of an impact, because I believe he said he's retiring next year. I think that's when his contract runs out, and he's going to be gone. I think this year, I remember hearing, again, you don't know how true most of this stuff is, but I remember hearing that this was going to be his last WrestleMania, this one that just passed, and that's why he wanted that match with Shaquille O'Neal so badly. So his contract, I think, runs out in February of 2018. So maybe he'll extend out to do another Mania. I don't know, but he's leaving. I don't think he really cares. His time as a main event guy or a main player on the show every week is over. Last year, I think in 2016, he kind of stopped appearing on Raw regularly and has not had many feuds since then. So I think he feels like he's in a position where he's made his money. He probably has no intention of staying with the company in any sort of great capacity beyond his contract, unless they want him to do some sort of like ambassador work or some garbage.
Legends deal or something.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do that to make some extra cash. But he's probably made a ton of money over the years. Obviously, he said in WCW he became the champion in his rookie year, so he's been in the main event fighting guys like Hulk Hogan since he started. So I think it's probably just one of those things. I'm sure they're not big fans of it, and maybe he'll get fined if people find out about it. But from his perspective, he's probably just talking honestly because he knows he's not going to be there much longer, and this is just how he feels about it. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys that probably feel this way, but just aren't able to voice it because they're under contract and they would get in serious trouble or get de-pushed. Like, he's really not appearing on the show regularly anymore, and so he probably doesn't care.
Yeah, and that's another thing he said too. Is he said, believe it or not, he doesn't like sitting there all day, sitting at 7-8 hours worth of tapings just to walk out, knock somebody out, and then walk in the back room. And now, I don't know when this was taped, but that's pretty interesting because that's what he's been doing like the last 3 weeks. So I don't know if somebody got wind of this and was like, oh, you don't like that? Here we go, 3 weeks worth of this. But, I do appreciate him, speaking his mind and telling it how it is, because there was another report out right now, I don't know if you read it, that said Triple H is kind of at odds with Vince over the booking of some of the NXT talent, specifically Sasha Banks, Bayley, and American Alpha. So it seems like there's a kind of a continental divide here in the company between the people that think they know what's best for business and the people that might actually know what's best for business. So Big Show being in the business so long, he could probably book these stories in his sleep and be a little more interesting than some of the stories that are going on right now. The WWE is doing a lot of really good stuff, but at the same point they're doing a lot of really bad stuff, and they have people in the spot that maybe shouldn't be in that spot. Like, I like Enzo and Cass, but you can't tell me their acting over the last 3 to 4 weeks in those segments has been convincing. I can't be the only person that's kind of cringing at those segments. When he's like when he get hurt in the back and then Enzo's like talking to him, it just that sounded pretty rough from my viewing. When Enzo got hurt and Cass was talking, it was one thing, but Enzo, I don't know, there's a little bit of a disconnect for me with Enzo Amore and trying to be serious, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well,
could just be me. Yeah, that's fine. But there are a lot, I like the storyline, what they're doing on Raw with Enzo and Cass, and with the revival maybe, but then Big Show coming out. But I guess if you're the Big Show, you've been doing this for so long, and you literally sit there 7-8 hours to do 10 seconds worth of work, 15, maybe 5 minutes worth of work tops, and then you fly back home. So I don't know. I kudos to him for speaking his mind and saying what's really on his mind, not worrying about what's going to happen to him. Because like you said, I'm sure there are plenty of other guys who do have to worry about what they say, and he's just like, whatever. I'm 44, 45, 46 years old, and it doesn't really matter what happens from here for him.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on Raw. They mentioned Roman Reigns was not on the show this week, and then next week he's going to be making an announcement on his SummerSlam plans. And I wanted to get so I had a thought on what that was going to be. So I wanted to see what your take was, if you had any thoughts on what he's going to be doing or saying next week on the show with regards to SummerSlam. I
put a lot of thought into that, and I'm going to let you know what my thoughts are on Roman Reigns right after this break and this word from our sponsor at Damage 365 Radio Network.
Everybody, this is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and you are listening to Damage 365 Radio. And remember, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
We are back, and let me tell you something. Joe had just asked me what Roman Reigns' plans are for this summer. If I'm Roman Reigns, it's the summer, it's hot. You're a good-looking guy. You get out there and, you show your wild oats, Roman Reigns. Now, in regards to wrestling, I maybe he's... Oh! The Roman Express! He's going to do the Roman Challenge. I think that might be the next logical step for Roman Reigns. I don't know what...
The Roman Challenge?
The Roman Challenge.
Is that like the Rodney Mack 5-minute White Boy Challenge? Different than that?
Man, this...
No?
That's the second time we've talked about this, and I think each time it gets worse.
I feel great about that.
I do.
It's a good angle. I was there when it got broke.
Who broke it? Chris Masters?
Goldberg.
Wow. God,
Bill Goldberg.
Breaks a lot of streaks. Roman Reigns. What could he possibly be? What is he going to tour America on a bus in US of A? I don't know. What is Roman Reigns going to do? He's going to put his name in the hat for. I got nothing. I really have no idea. I didn't even know that was a thing. I got to be honest with you. I'm not. I'm just spitballing here. I watched most of Raw, and I didn't even notice he wasn't on Raw. That's where. So maybe he's going to take the summer off. I know he's like he won like second like runner up Dad of the Year to Titus O'Neil like 2 years ago. Maybe he's going to do that. Maybe he's going to do some family time to heal, time to reform the Samoan dynasty. Maybe I don't know. He's going to corner Mark Hunt in his next fight because they're both Samoan. They're both from the same lineage. I was reading that the other day.
Oh really?
Nope. What do you think is going to be on Roman Reigns' docket?
Well. Here's what I think it's going to be. I don't know what his announcement's going to be, or if he's going to maybe ask or talk about wanting to challenge for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. I could see them doing that and saying that he wants the winner of Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe. That would be my speculation. And then I think that Braun Strowman is going to return on Monday and beat the tar out of Roman. And then they'll have another match at Great Balls of Fire, the next Raw pay-per-view, at which Strowman will win and go on to face Brock at SummerSlam. That's my prediction. I wanted to just get that out there, hopefully in the small percentage chance that I'm actually correct about that. I just want to get that on the record. But that's my prediction. I did see that Strowman was cleared to wrestle again. So the whole idea of him being out 6 months, I think, which came out a little bit ago with his elbow injury, was a work. So I think they planted that seed so that people wouldn't think he'd be around for a while, and I think he's going to come back and attack Roman during the segment. That's my prediction. And if he doesn't, and they do something cool, and they do Roman Cena, they do Roman and Goldberg, or they do Roman and somebody else, and that's fine too. But I think that's how it's going to play out.
Roman and Goldberg?
Yeah, I don't know.
Book it, man. Roman versus Cena would be cool, because that'd be two guys that people are kind of tired of, right? That nobody really wants to see do anything else right now. Put them together. They could do whatever they want there. That's a good idea. Man, I can't even begin to think what I would enjoy Roman doing. And I feel bad to say that, but the main event picture on Raw right now is awesome. Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. That segment, I don't know but for you, but for me, that was an awesome way to start Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going crazy for that. I think they need to let them do their thing. I think interjecting a Braun Strowman into that segment or something is going to ruin it for me. So let them have their match, and that'll be awesome. Roman Reigns, he's done it all with everybody there. I mean, who on Raw hasn't Roman worked with a lot?
Worked with a lot?
Yeah, pretty consistently.
I would say Finn Balor. He's not worked with a lot consistently.
There we go. That's good booking.
He's not worked with Samoa Joe very much. I think they had like maybe one match, maybe two at most. So those guys, I guess. Obviously, he's worked Rollins a lot. He's worked Bray Wyatt a lot. He's worked Strowman some. He wrestled Lesnar, I think, once a couple times, maybe I think one-on-one, and then the triple threat, maybe once or twice. So I think those guys are the ones that, Balor and maybe Joe are the ones that he hasn't worked a lot in terms of extended feuds. And I guess Miz as well. The rumor was that he was going to go into an IC title feud with Miz at some point later this year. So I don't think they've had an extended feud. So maybe they would dive into that. That
would be cool. I would really like to see a Miz Roman feud. Call me crazy. I'm actually liking the Miz Ambrose feud. How do you feel about that? I know you weren't very high on it. We both kind of dogged it because of how much they work together on SmackDown. But I think they're doing a lot for this feud to make it a little bit different on Raw.
I think their matches have been okay. I thought the build-up to the pay-per-view match last month, or actually a couple weeks ago for Extreme Rules, wasn't bad. Since the pay-per-view of Extreme Rules where Miz won, I don't think it's been good.
I'm digging the teddy bear gimmick.
Oh God!
I'm all about the teddy bear gimmick. I'm all about the Ambrose creating a rift between Miz and Maurice kind of thing, inadvertently. I think that's gold for some reason. And I'm pretty negative on WWE. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm incredibly critical, but I think they're adding a different spin on this. I think it's always been Miz and Maurice versus Ambrose. Now, if it's just, if Ambrose is going to create that rift, and it's going to be Miz versus Ambrose, and Ambrose is going to get the title back because it's a one-on-one. That's something a little bit different, but I don't know. I like what they're doing. I'm a mark for the bear. I'm not a mark for all of the bear puns that they used. The bear hug, it was barely watchable. Right to bear arm, that was legitimately making me angry on Raw. But aside from that, I was able to look past that and enjoy this segment with the bear. I'm trying to be positive in this.
I think this is just my suggestion. I would make some life evaluations probably soon. I think that would be what I would.
My life evaluation
is
that
if you're enjoying the bear and the dancing bear segments, I think the last couple of weeks we have to.
What I'm doing is I'm trying to look at the glass half full. I'm trying not to be as critical of things anymore.
What half is positive about the bear? What parts have you enjoyed?
The bear's entrance music? Classic.
The bear's entrance music.
The bear on the tricycle? That was hilarious. I don't know, man. I'm digging the bear. Now, the bear angle has legs. Now, let's say Miz wakes up in the middle of the night, sees a teddy bear next to him. It's going to be like the Boogeyman segment all over again. And truth be told, The Natural was the one that came up with the Boogeyman idea. So the Miz could just be haunted by this teddy bear. It's something a little bit different. It's a little outside the box.
Yeah, this is like White Castle of Fear level stuff happening.
Okay, White Castle of Fear was awesome.
RoboCop. Can we get RoboCop back?
Black Scorpion. Yeah, this was this was gold, Jerry. Gold. That's when wrestling was fun, man. Chamber of Horrors match. Electrocuting Abdullah the Butcher. That's good booking. It's something a little bit different, man. Let's just not have this traditional winner loses in a non-title match and causing a title match baloney anymore. Let's get the bear, buddy. Such a mark for the bear.
I can't talk about the bear anymore.
All right,
can't do it.
Let's move on from the bear.
Let's move on from the bear.
Anything else happen on Raw that we want to talk about?
No, I think we've covered the main shows pretty good this week. I mean, I think that was the main stuff that happened on Raw. We touched on SmackDown, their pay-per-view this weekend. So I think we hit all the high points or whatever there were for WWE, the main talking points for this week.
Okay. Now, there's two more things I'd like to discuss. One is New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion over the weekend. But before we get to Dominion, I teased a little discussion about Glacier before. True or false, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I did. So I'm going to implore is a word, right? If I want people to do something. I'm going to implore people to go to Uproxx, UPROXX. That's one of the, everybody's favorite YouTube and websites. They have a story on there called The Untold Story of Ray Lloyd, a.k.a. Glacier.
It's probably a reason why it's untold. Is that fair?
You are so negative lately. I feel like you need to try to look at the glass a little half full, okay? It's a story. It's like a 4-minute video. They're talking to Glacier. They're also talking to Eric Bischoff. They're talking to Ric Flair, a couple people about the Glacier character and how much money went into it and how Glacier made his return WrestleMania weekend at Joey Janela's Spring Break down in Orlando. And he got the pin in a Battle Royal. I think he might have pinned Earl Cooter, believe it or not.
He got a pin in a Battle Royal?
Yeah. I think it was in a gauntlet, whatever it was. Listen, Glacier's back.
4-minute video?
Yeah, it's 4 minutes.
Wasn't allowed to untell, right?
Am
I right? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm done. No. Let's talk about Braun Strowman or some Fugazi.
We did that already.
No, I don't want to talk about Braun Strowman.
Well, I'm not saying we should.
I want to talk about Glacier.
Go ahead. Finish
No, you cut me off talking about Glacier.
No, I'm asking.
You buried my segment.
It was 4 minutes of his untold story. So what did they untell? What was the? You said everyone should go watch, right? So what was the? Was there a lot of?
It was a nice interview with Glacier.
Okay.
He's 53 now. He's making his comeback. Okay. And he's out there wrestling now. And he's not doing it for the money. He's a school teacher, and he was saying how some guy was talking about it. Some guy who knew another teacher, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" He's like, "I'm still teaching, so I can wrestle on the weekends." And then the guy buries him. He's like, "Oh, you still doing that bleep word?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I am, because I love it. Okay, I like me, and my wife likes me." Yeah, I just gave you a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles quote. But no, it was a really cool story on Glacier. I'm actually going to share it on our Facebook, and I'm not getting any money from this. Glacier didn't give me a 20. I'm just saying it was a nice story. It was nice to hear. It was also interesting to hear Eric Bischoff because the Glacier character was right around the time that WWE was chastising. I'm sorry, the WCW was chastising WWE for having like video game characters and big, larger than life fictional people, and they come out with a ninja, like AKA Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero, yeah. But I thought it was cool. He was good in the ring, and he had a better super kick than Shawn Michaels. Not me, science. If you watch the man super kick, they show it like 5 times in here. He makes the Young Bucks and Shawn Michaels look like doo-doo. This man hits one of the stiffest super kicks I've ever seen. He had a great feud with Mortis, I believe, and Wrath. And I think he worked a lot with DDP. DDP was also in the video. So go watch The Untold Story of Glacier on Uproxx. You're not going to watch it, are you?
Maybe. If you share it on the Facebook page, maybe I'll spare 4 minutes and
12 seconds.
12 seconds.
4 minutes and 12 seconds on Glacier.
Talk about Sub-Zero and...
He wasn't Sub-Zero for... No, I'm just getting tight. Anyway. What else are we going to talk about? How much time we got left? We got time to talk about Dominion?
5 minutes.
New Japan Pro Wrestling's Dominion was over this weekend. We talked about it last weekend. It's their second biggest show of the year. It goes Wrestle Kingdom, then it goes Dominion, and then they have the G1 and all that stuff. Dominion there's a lot of shows in the card. I'm not going to get into all of it. A couple of matches that we had broken down and we had predicted. The Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice. Roppongi Vice are the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. They dropped the title to the Bucks. I think we were 1 for 1 on that. We both said the same thing was going to happen. Yeah. Thought that was a great match. It was an interesting story how they took Rocky out in the beginning. They beat the hell out of him. Then it was pretty much 2-on-1. The Young Bucks versus Trent. Rocky made the save, and it was different than any other Bucks versus Roppongi match I've ever seen before, and that's tough to do because they've wrestled each other so many times. Whether it be 2-on-2 tag matches or 4-on-4s or 14 tag matches, so that was a really good match, and the Bucks are now the 6-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Other matches on that card we had talked about was Naito and Tanahashi. Now, Tanahashi, I personally think his bicep injury might have been a work. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's a legit injury, or? I
mean, my understanding is that bicep injuries are pretty... when they get fixed, it takes a long time to come back. So either they're doing a bunch of stuff to tape it together so you can keep working, or maybe it wasn't as serious as originally reported. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, Don Callis, a.k.a. the Jackal, was killing me on commentary in that match, as he does. But he said he pretty much said it's a partial tear instead of a full tear of the bicep. But Tanahashi was able to work a full match. I mean, if it was injured, you couldn't tell. I think, who'd you pick in that match? Did you have Naito or did you have Tanahashi?
I had Naito.
I had Tanahashi because I just feel like Naito said he was going to retire the title, and Tanahashi was fighting for New Japan. And again, they told a really good story how Tanahashi kind of had to come back and fight through the injury, and he wound up tapping out Naito in a cloverleaf. Match went almost a half an hour, and so Tanahashi is your new IWGP Intercontinental Champion. And then the main event, there's a bunch of matches on the card, but the meat and potatoes of it were these three. And then the main event was Kenny Omega versus Okada in a rematch of the Wrestle Kingdom main event earlier this year. The only match that Dave Meltzer ever gave 6 stars to, which is, and that match went 47 minutes the first one. This match went to a 1-hour time limit draw. What was the last match you can remember that went to a 1-hour time limit draw?
Lethal versus Roddy from ROH about 2 years ago.
Good call. Okay. Anything else for that? Because I was racking my brain trying to think of one. I thought of Tanahashi versus Okada, but that was only a 30-minute time limit draw.
1-hour draws?
Yeah.
It would probably go back to like the Ric Flair days would be the first thing I could think of. Technically the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12 after 60 minutes was even, but then went to overtime.
Right.
I think probably back in Flair's era of NWA, WCW back in the 80s would be my guess as far as the last 60
Broadway, right? 60-minute Broadway?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's the insider term. Now, I haven't read many of the reviews of stuff online. What are people saying in comparison to the first match?
The couple of things I've read have said that most people seem to like this match better than the first one.
Okay. They're close to me. I would have loved to finish in the second in this match. I understand why. If the truth is that Kenny Omega didn't re-sign for a long-term deal, they were hesitant to put the title on him. I don't know what happens now if you're Okada and if you're Omega. They're doing the American G1, which starts, I don't even know when that is. I think that's August.
You talking about the title tournament?
Yeah.
That's on the Long Beach shows.
Yeah, those are July?
July.
Those are July, okay. So they announced the talent for those shows. Kenny Omega is part of that tournament, so maybe they'll do something there. But you got to figure if they're going to do a rematch, you can't not have this main event of Wrestle Kingdom show. But then whoever wins the G1 is going to get the title match. So I don't know what. I guess maybe if you're New Japan, you're hesitant to put the title on a guy like Omega because you need a commitment from him that he's going to be here for at least another year or two, and that's not what you have right now. But Okada has pretty much cleared out. He's had feuds with everybody in the main event picture in New Japan. I guess you can go back to Naito. Naito is probably an early favorite to win this year's G1. But in terms of the match quality, man, this match was 60 minutes. It didn't feel like, for me, I watched the whole thing. It didn't feel like it was that long of a match until I think Kevin Kelly said it eclipsed their first match, and their first match was 46 minutes. So that's when I kind of looked at the clock and I was like, wow, this match has been going on forever. It wasn't slow, for the Roddy versus Lethal match was fantastic, but I feel like they paced it slow. This match I thought was definitely going to be shorter than their first match because the pacing was so fast, and there were spots, big dives, Omega did an Asai moonsault, off the top up to the outside, like 10, 15 minutes into the match. So I didn't think there was any way they could keep up that pace the whole match, and sure enough, they did. And I think it was, I don't know, that's a match that if you watch it, it's going to be tough to top. More enjoyable, tell a better story. I think those two guys did an amazing job, and I just don't know how you follow a match like that. So I guess we'll see what's next for either of those guys. But I mean, hopefully, like a couple of weeks off and just relax. And if you get a chance to watch Being the Elite, this week's episode of the Young Bucks Being the Elite on YouTube, they have a really good post-match with Kenny Omega where Nick Jackson's actually scrolling through Twitter showing Omega GIFs, a video of his match right after it was done. So that was like a really cool moment, and it was cool to see Omega behind the scenes in character but not really in character, showing how nervous he was for the match, and how he said he couldn't sleep and whatnot. So I have a whole new appreciation for him as a performer. It was those two dudes, they beat the hell out of each other. The drop kicks to the back of the head, the hair trick, I forget what he calls it, the knee, what is he called? Hair trigger?
Who's this, Omega?
Yeah. The knee. I think he calls it.
What he calls his moves, other than the one-winged angel.
Yeah, I forget what it was. But and Omega finally did hit the one-winged angel, which was, the story was he was never able to hit it on Okada. He hits the one-winged angel. Unfortunately, Okada's leg was under the rope, which is the only thing that saved him. So it was, man, if you have 60 minutes to spare and you want to sit down and you want to watch a story, a match, and one hell of an athletic, an athletic contest, watch Kenny Omega versus Okada from New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion. But if you look at the reviews of the whole show, top to bottom, even the gauntlets and the four-ways and the 8-man tags and stuff like that, while we talked about how they don't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, they definitely have, they were definitely enjoyable. There wasn't a lot of storyline to them, but they were just good matches, and that's really all you can ask for. But that show, top to bottom, it was like 4.5 hours long, almost 5 hours. But it was something to watch, man. It was quite the storytelling. Do we have Meltzer's ratings for it?
I think they'll come out today in his report. I haven't read his report today, so they'll come out today on as far as what he rated the matches on that show.
Are you waiting to see if it's 6 stars?
No, I'm actually probably going to boycott reading them because I don't want to even hear it again. But I can tell you there was one other match that he rated 6 stars besides the Okada Omega one. So it was Mitsuharu Misawa versus Toshiaki Kawada from 1994 All Japan. 1994. So that was the only other match he's rated 6 stars.
He's rated 6 stars. I thought that was a big thing where he's never given 6 stars before.
Nope, I think it's just been a long time. It's been like 23 years since he did it. But there. 2 overall. That's the second match that he did. So I don't know. His rating's pending, I guess, on this show. Maybe he gave this one 7 for all I know. But that's the other one that he rated. But I think some of the matches are probably up on either YouTube or Dailymotion in case people don't have New Japan World. I think it just probably doesn't have the U.S. commentary. It's probably got the Japanese commentators. But
Yeah.
If anybody wants to check some of those matches out, they're welcome to do that. I'll probably do that as well for some of the main stuff. I want to see the junior heavyweight title match.
Oh, that's the other. I suck. That was the other match. That was Kushida versus Tanahashi.
So I think that's what I'll probably check out some of those and just see what I think of some of those matches as far as the last maybe 4 or 5 on the show.
Could we get you to live tweet the Okada Omega match?
If you want me to live tweet that, I will certainly do that.
Can you send me the tweets first before you? I just don't want you.
Absolutely not. I will absolutely not do that. I'll put my initials in the tweets so everybody knows.
There we
it's
go.
Me.
Maybe that's what we can do. But no, I would love to hear your. You know what? I don't want you to read Meltzer's review. I want you to go in there watching this one clean slate.
I can tell you, I will not read his review before I watch any of the matches. So I will not be doing that.
The other thing is Tanahashi versus Kushida. Son of a monkey. Takahashi versus Kushida. He does what's called the Sunset Bomb. Have you ever seen him do this?
I believe that I have. Yeah.
How do you take that bump? It's a running sunset flip power bomb onto the outside. And there is no flip over the guy, catch him, then power bomb. The man does a 40-yard dash, and it was such. I thought Kushida died, but that match, the Bucks match, the Naito match, and the Okada match, man, it was an emotional roller coaster. I wept, I cried, I marked out, and I begged for an Omega win. I did. You can ask the Natural, you can ask Kerry. We had gotten home from a wedding. I got home from the wedding, and this is going to sound really sad as we wrap up here. Watch the first 48 minutes of the match, and we were running late to this wedding, and it was 97 degrees on Sunday, balls hot, Joe. I'm telling you, the clouds were sweating. It was so hot, and I'm like, I got to get ready for this wedding, and I have no idea what happened in this match. I didn't read any spoilers. I stayed off the internet. This is probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm at this wedding now, and all I'm thinking about is, I want to watch the end of Omega versus Okada. So as soon as I got back in the house, what'd I do? 97 degrees or not, I watched the end of that match. It was the only thing I could think of. It says a lot about who I am as a person. Oh, and they said I do, and everyone's happily ever after. And by the way, the wedding, 97 degrees, outside. You know what that was like, Joe?
Hot.
The best man had a sweat rag. He literally was dabbing his forehead.
Yeah.
Way to go, Bob. You selfish son of a... Just kidding, man. Congratulations on your wedding. Outside. 100 degrees. Bastard. Anyway. Wrapped it up.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good with that. That's good. So next week, I think we'll talk about obviously who won the Money in the Bank briefcases and any other news coming out of that pay-per-view this weekend. We've got Ring of Honor has a pay-per-view next Friday, the 23rd. So we can talk a little bit about that. I know we haven't gotten to them as much the last couple of weeks, so I'd like to maybe we can do some preview and talk about Ring of Honor and some of the things going on there as well. So I think a couple of things in the hopper, and if I do watch some of these New Japan matches, and anybody, I will work on my live tweets while I watch it, or I'll just give some feedback on next week's show.
Dangling the carrot. By the way, isn't hopper code for toilet?
The hopper?
Yeah. I think hopper means toilet.
I thought can was toilet.
I'm going to look it up right now. Hopper definition. Because I remember that guy TL Hopper.
Yeah, TL Hopper, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Hopper definition slang. Let's see here. Box of pills. A box that bills are put into before they are considered legislator. I'll be damned. Homie hopper. UrbanDictionary.com has a definition of homie hopper. Well, before we
That's it, everybody, for this week's episode of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast.
We appreciate you guys listening and following us on Facebook.com/AllNightLongWP, ProWrestling.com. ProWrestling.com's All Night Long Wrestling podcast. So make sure you check out ProWrestling.com for all your up-to-date news, articles, interviews, X, Y, and Z. If you need to know it, it's on ProWrestling.com. You could follow along with Joe's live tweets of New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion on us at All Night Long WP on our Twitter and on our Instagram, where Midcard Guy liked us at All Night Long WP. For the Stallion, I am the Enforcer, and this week we are tapping out.